Hey everyone, this is Nigel Wingate with Coldwell Banker American Homes, and on this channel, we talk about what's happening across Long Island real estate, development, infrastructure, housing market updates, and everything impacting life on Long Island. And today, we're going to be talking about a new tax proposal that is being discussed in New York that has a lot of people paying very close attention right now, especially because of the conversation surrounding property values and the possible ripple effects that this could have on the broader market as a whole. So before I even get into this video, I really want to make something very clear. I am not trying to make a political statement here whatsoever. I'm not taking a political position here. I'm not telling anyone what they should support or what they shouldn't support. I simply think it's important for Long Islanders and homeowners as a whole to stay informed anytime there are major conversations happening involving housing, affordability, taxes, or economics, because these types of discussions can sometimes affect market psychology and eventually influencing housing markets over time. So I was reading a recent article from the New York Post that discussed concerns around this new proposal. And there's a lot of concerns that people are talking about. This tax proposal is tied to certain high value secondary residences in New York City. I'll have the full article linked down below in the description if you guys want to read it for yourselves. Now, essentially, this proposal is aimed at certain luxury properties that are not considered somebody's primary residence. So we're talking about higher end apartments, condos, and properties that may be used as second homes, investment residences, or part-time residences, primarily in New York City. And while on the surface, some people may look at this and think, well, that doesn't really affect Long Island. The reason why Long Islanders are paying attention is because Long Island's housing market is heavily connected to New York City economically. So a huge amount of Long Island's real estate activity is actually influenced by what happens in the city. So many Long Island homeowners, they work in Manhattan, and a lot of Long Island buyers are people who are leaving Brooklyn, they're leaving Queens or Manhattan and looking for more space. So many higher income buyers and investors who purchase property on Long Island are financially tied to New York City markets in some way. It's just a reality. So anytime there's a major proposal involving real estate taxes, housing, economics in New York City, people naturally begin wondering whether there could eventually be a ripple effect extending into suburban markets like Long Island. So according to the article, critics of the proposal are concerned that taxes targeting luxury secondary residences could potentially impact buyer confidence and investment behavior over time. So people worry that if ownership costs continue rising in New York, it could eventually change how certain buyers and investors view owning property in the region overall. A lot of other people believe the impact would ultimately be very limited and mostly isolated to a specific segment of the market. So right now, there's still a lot of debate and uncertainty, kind of surrounding all of this. But honestly, one of the reasons stories like this become important in real estate is because perception and psychology really matter tremendously in housing markets. People react emotionally to financial uncertainty. They react to headlines. They react to discussions that are around taxes, affordability, and the long-term cost of home ownership. And even before policies fully take effect, conversations alone can sometimes influence buyer behavior. So people may become more cautious. Some buyers may wait to see what happens. A lot of investors may reassess where they want to allocate money. You have a lot of luxury buyers that may start comparing costs between different markets. And because Long Island is already one of the most expensive places to live in the country, homeowners here tend to pay very close attention anytime conversations involving taxes or housing costs start to make headlines. So Long Island already has high property taxes, which we're all aware of. Insurance costs have increased. Home prices remain very elevated. Mortgage rates are significantly higher than they were a few years ago, and affordability continues to be one of the biggest concerns for both buyers as well as current homeowners. So naturally, when another housing related tax proposal enters the conversation, people begin asking sort of those bigger picture questions. Could this eventually impact demand? Could it affect property values at the higher end of the market? Could it influence migration patterns between New York City and Long Island? Could more people choose suburban markets instead of maintaining secondary city residences? Or could some buyers simply pull back entirely? And honestly, nobody fully knows yet, because these types of proposals often evolve significantly over time. But I think this story really highlights how interconnected Long Island and New York City truly are when it comes to real estate. A lot of people think Long Island's market operates independently, but in reality, housing demand here is deeply tied to New York City jobs, to New York City wealth, commuting patterns, and overall economic confidence. So that's why I always say real estate is so much bigger than just buying and selling houses. Things like transportation absolutely matter. Economic policy is something that really matters. Overall infrastructure is something that definitely matters. Taxes are crucial. Development, all of these things eventually connect back to housing demand, to affordability, prices, and property values in one way, shape, or form. So whether this proposal ultimately has a major impact or a very little impact at all, I still think it's something Long Islanders should at least be aware of, because these conversations can absolutely shape the market sentiment moving forward. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below, because I'm really curious what you think about this situation. And if you're thinking about buying, selling, or moving anywhere on Long Island, feel free to reach out to me directly. My contact information is down below in the description. And if you enjoy Long Island real estate updates, housing news, and everything happening across Long Island, make sure to subscribe, because I'm going to continue covering stories just like this.